So, Guy, there has been a massive push on this concept of coaching. Now, it's not a new thing. Coaching's been around for a very long time, although we've seen this proliferation of coaching and everyone being an influencer. Um, I'd love to talk through why you think coaching has been so kind of rampant recently, and then I believe you're going to share with us a bit of cynicism towards the end of this segment about coaching, which is not really coaching, but in the guise of something else.
Well, I love coaching. What is coaching, right? I was a high school football coach I actually miss coaching high school football. One of my favorite things to do and giving back because it meant so much to me. But what do we mean? When you ask me about coaching, what are you talking about?
So I think we're definitely not talking about your glory days. The older you get, the better you were. I'm sure that is the case for many of us. But in the context of legal, I think one of the things that has happened, and we've talked about this, and this is talked about repeatedly among the legal industry, is what an absolutely piss poor job the law schools do at teaching lawyers how to run the business of a law firm. That just doesn't exist. I've done segments on from lawyer to CEO. We've done lots of conversations about how to run your business, and nature hates a vacuum. And in pops a bunch of people that have been successful in the practice of law, teaching others how to be successful in the business of law. And I think that's very, very valuable. I think many lawyers, many doctors, I mean, it happens in the medical industry too. You learn that profession, but you don't learn how to be a professional. How? Wow, that was kind of quippy, but I liked it.
Well, not every lawyer is a business owner either, by the way.
Not and they don't need to be, right? And not every lawyer needs to be a business owner. And so the law school, in defense of the law schools, perhaps that is okay. Having said that, many of you are lawyers first and business owners second, when you should really be thinking more on the business owner side. Ben Glass has been doing this for a long time. How to Manage a Small Law Firm has kind of a cult following of people who, and they've been providing this service for a long time. Crisp Video has moved. I mean, it's no longer Crisp Video. It is Crisp. And they have moved very aggressively into, so they do video, but that is a part of their business. The majority of their business is in the coaching. And interestingly, this is a bit of an aside, but they have really kind of reined in the number of people that they are serving. As
Great
opposed
scarcity.
to kind of create scarcity. So can you talk about that? What has Crisp done on the scarcity side, and also why?
Well, I think I don't know all the you know more of the details about it than I do, but they're limiting the number of lawyers they're taking in, and so you feel like if there's only one seat left, might encourage someone to want to take advantage of that opportunity, as opposed to unlimited seats. Like, oh, maybe someday I'll get to it.
Yeah, so literally they've gone from filling the Dallas Cowboys stadium to constraining who they're actually working with. It's a very good way of limiting we talk about the right client. The right client for Crisp isn't all law firms, right? And so they've done that by this kind of scarcity model. It's an interesting thing. But again, they're focused on coaching people through running the business of the law firm. And they do that through some really, really great speakers and coaches. I believe their coaching model, they take older, very experienced executives outside of the legal industry, and have those people acting as coaches for law firms, right? And so
lawyers lab, and I think they've got lab coaching now with Affinity. So I think they do some coaching.
Yeah,
lots of
Charlie
coaches.
Mann. Charlie Mann recently went out with I believe it's called Law Firm Alchemy, which is very much a business consulting. He under the tutelage of Ben Glass, spent a long time with at Ben Glass Law, and then I believe Great Legal Marketing. So he's launched up. But the coaching is, I see this as a very positive thing. There are a lot of lessons that can be learned. This is kind of an extension, a more formalized extension of the masterminds. It is
strategic
a paid
coach, Dan
service.
Kennedy,
right? So there's lots of opportunities at this point in time to sharpen the saw on your business skills, and that is provided through coaching. And it makes me happy because I don't have a JD, I have an MBA, and so
you should be a coach.
I think I would be in the same way you talked about being a football coach. I was a terrible coach. I
What did you coach?
I've coached all sorts. I I used to coach ski. I've done the soccer thing, like lots of parents. I've done this. I've done the soccer thing. I also coach skiing. I I don't think I transition well to, especially with kids. Yeah, I tend to push my personal kids pretty hard, and I don't understand kids who don't respond to that. So I've left a lot of kids on a slope in tears. Let's leave it at that. But you know, I want to. When we were talking about this at in the show preps, you had kind of a cynical take on some of the coaching, and I think there is great business coaching, but where do you start to get wary, not weary, maybe weary as well, weary and wary about coaching? What do you think is the kind of dark underside of coaching?
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's maybe not limited to coaching, so to speak, and maybe it's like because it's so hot right now, right? Coaching's so hot, but you see, there are, and you know, a lot of this value stuff on the coaching is also in the eye of the coachee and what their expectations are and all that yada 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 stuff. But so I'm not like trying to like talk trash about coaching. I think coaching is tremendously valuable. I've participated in business coaching as a coachee and or a mentee, or you know, however you want it, whatever coach type term you want to use to learn from coaches. Coaches are great. And I was thinking about this. I think we talked about it before in like conference context, but you know, I see some of these more veteran firms who are like, you know, they see the coaching model and they're like, you know, that looks pretty good. And so they're like, you know, I've got young new lawyers look up to me because I've got my multi-million-dollar law firm, and throw that in my Facebook ad and say, hey, you can turn into me with some coaching from my firm. All you got to do is pay to participate in the coaching thing. Oh, and by the way, we're also happy to take your referrals. And so I get a little bit concerned, I suppose, about these lawyers that, you know, and again, this is just my viewpoint. I'm sure if you're listening to this and you're in one of these coaching programs and you're like, it's the best thing that's ever happened to your firm and you love your coach and you happily pay twice as much for it. But I think you got to be mindful and kind of take stock on like the dream of being this type of firm, and then, you know, what the coaching program is actually doing to support you, right? So like, you know, sometimes in some of these coaching programs, it's just a pep text, right? You're getting not just a pep text, but you're getting a pep text. Now,
what's a pep text?
You know, hey, get out there and do a great job today and be productive and prioritize your most important tasks and think about your positioning today. And, you know, I don't want to diminish the value of that for some folks. You know, some folks that's great. That's helpful.
Dude, if that's helpful, you don't belong running a firm. Let's be, you're so kind. You're being kind. I don't want to diminish the value. Let me reframe this for what Gyi's really thinking. If you're the kind of person that is going to be successful because you get a text in the morning from someone that is the same exact text that 250 other law firms get, you're probably not going to be successful. That's what
I think that the most constructive way that I would advise is you know, have a conversation about being aligned on what the objectives is. I mean, the same thing we talk about digital marketing agencies, like what's success look like, right? Like talk about what success looks like when you're in these programs. I don't know. I feel like this has turned into, it wasn't intended to be a bash session on coaching. I mean, I think some of these coaches are transformative. I mean, if you're in an environment, they are masterminds, right? You're seeing the inside behind how firms work. You know, I've participated in them myself, and you know, I've been to some of these legal masterminds, and they can be great. I just I don't know. I see it must be the Facebook ads. The Facebook ads are driving me nuts. You know, $0 to $2 million in revenue in the next 3 months. Sign up for our coaching program. See how we did it. I don't know.
So let me put a
negative.
positive
I
spin
don't
on
know.
this. My take is, if your coaching is going to expose you to the running of the business that you don't even think about, there's huge value in that. There's huge value, because otherwise you're going to learn everyone else's lessons that they've already learned your own hard, expensive way. And coaching and masterminds being a less formal version of coaching, great way to avoid the mistakes that others have already paid so dearly to learn.
Absolutely. And then the other side of that coin is, don't expect that you're going to be able to copy the playbook of another law firm and it's going to work the same way. And in fact, I think that's part of my problem is that a lot of these coaching programs, they are structured as frameworks. And so, my marketing mind is like, well, this isn't going to help you stand out, because you're literally trying to recreate this other firm that already exists. Like, that's not how it works.
Step 1, generate multi-million-dollar fee that you can invest in marketing over the next 10 years.
Right.
Money makes a it makes a world go round. Money makes a world go round. Yeah, money make a world go round. Money makes a world go round. Yeah, money make a world go round. Money